is Aitana. I am here at Clout Cafe from DailyClout. I'm here today with Mr. Mark Aubry. Mr. Aubry is the founder and CEO of two companies. One is called Impact Health, and the other one is called RHM. And both of these companies are focused on teaching professionals and medical professionals the business aspect of medicine, as well as how to look at health from an overall view and in a new way forward. Mr. Aubry, thank you so much for being with us.
Thanks for having me. That was a pretty good explanation of what we're doing.
Okay, so sharpen it up a little bit, and why don't you fill in the blanks, whatever I missed there.
Yeah, we felt like we had to have two platforms as we were building this. And so we felt that because we're entering a new health economy and needing new ways of doing business, we had to train or provide an educational and training platform for health professionals so they can succeed in this new health economy. And then we have the RHM, which stands for Regenerative Health Management, but it's a business system advisory platform and knowledge engine so that physicians and health professionals can actually take care of their patients in a way that makes a lot of sense for them.
Okay, that sounds great. Can you give us a little bit more examples on who exactly you're targeting? Like, who's your client base, I guess, from this perspective?
Yeah, from a health professional standpoint, I think we have two different audiences that we work with. So we work with health professionals and helping them understand and learn how to compete in this and succeed in this new health economy. And then we work with different kinds of patients, or help them to help the health professionals work with different kinds of patients. The different kinds of patients, there's really three different kinds of patients that we're able to work with that are really looking for the things that we're doing. The first one is that those that don't have any hope. The current system has said, go home and prepare to die, or there's nothing we can do for you other than, cut you open and look inside of you and see if there's anything there. The second category is, or the separate type of patient is that chronic condition type patient. There's 60% of Americans have at least one chronic disease. 40% of Americans have at least two or more. And that's only getting worse with the COVID related issues and long COVID and all of the chronic conditions that seem to be getting worse and worse. And so we have a platform, it particularly works for those types of patients. And then the third category is really those that, I'm doing pretty good, or I just want to get better. Some people call this optimization. We really look at it more from, as you said a few moments ago, that it's about whole body health and looking at the whole body and trying to help the body heal itself.
Okay, thank you. Can I go back to something you said for a second? You mentioned a very high rate of people with chronic conditions in the United States. Is that a recent phenomenon?
No, that's been something that has been going around. That's 2018 numbers that I just quoted from the CDC.
I would consider that recent. I meant more recent in the longer timeline of things. Has America gotten progressively sicker over the decades?
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. And part of it is what we're eating. Part of it's what we're putting into our bodies. That's really where it comes from. And when you look at it, the current medical system in the United States is really more of a sick care. It's not a health care. It's like, let's react to what's going on. And this is not the fault of the health professionals. It's just the system that we're in. But people are wanting more and more, especially people who want to live a healthy life, who want to live their best lives possible. And so you're seeing all these things that are causing problems, and it's only getting worse. So we can't fix what people can't fix, i.e. the current medical system. And so we have to do things differently. That's why there's this new health economy developing.
I love it. And I kind of like talking about the parallel economies in a broad range of topics, education, entertainment, commerce. I mean, you really can see people splitting off into parallel systems just because, like you said, the previous ones and the current ones really are just too big to take down. You can like chip away at it, but they're not going anywhere. And it's almost like we have to just be content with those of us who are kind of aware of how the broader health care community should be operating, that we can be content with the fact that some people within our economy are creating those kinds of ventures.
Absolutely. I think that's what's happening in a lot of different arenas. You say that in the parallel economy. Specifically, we like to separate the old medical economy with the new health economy. medicine is something that is it's allopathic. It really, the way medicine should be is about, hey, if I'm hurt or I'm injured or I'm sick, then let's fix it. It's acute care. The problem is that there's so many chronic issues, so many things that are bothering us over time, so many things that they can't help us. Take 2 pills and call me in the morning isn't really benefiting people. And so we need somebody, or we need an organization that's going to help people really figure out. Now, there's a lot of one. Ours isn't the only one. There's direct primary care. There's concierge medicine. There's a lot of these different groups that are trying to do this, and not even just trying, but succeeding. So you've got the old medical economy. Real quick, one thing that people say is that, oh, we need to fix the medical system. We need to fix healthcare. Well, first of all, you can't fix something that's been that's working exactly the way it was designed. That's number one. Number two, there's no fixing it. There's too many deep incentives for people to stay as it is. I mean, and that's really what makes the world go round, is incentives, and why we do what we do because of how we're incentivized. In the current system, there's too many people incentivized to keep doing it the same way. That's why, to your point about the parallel economy, that's why we need this parallel health economy, because people want to get better. They want better health. So that's why we've deemed it or named it the new health economy.
So do you have any section that works directly with the patient, or you really exclusively work with other health professionals, teaching them how to care for the patients?
We have 10 offices that are up and going, 10 health professionals that have been trained, 7 that are operating now, 10, we'll have 3 more going in May. But we've been trying to figure this out. We actually launched in January of 2020, and then 3 months later, we're told that it's only going to take 15 days. And here we are. And so it's been a kind of a grind for us getting to where we need to be. And we're starting to grow and doing a lot of training of health professionals. So we train the health professionals from the business system, from an advisory platform, so that they can do things differently, so that they can really take care of patients. I believe that there's 2, we talk about in health and medicine, we talk about root causes, and the root causes aren't being treated a lot of times. But from a health professional standpoint, there's really only 2 root causes to all of health professionals' problems. The first one is an improper mindset, just taking pills, or just doing things the way they've always been done, seeing patients at 8 minutes at a time. We need to change our mindset that that's not the right way to go, because that's not what patients want. So the first one is improper mindsets. The second root cause is not understanding incentives. Health professionals typically, for the most part, are compensated by seeing as many people in a day as they possibly can. And when you're incentivized to see as many people, I joke with doctors and health professionals a lot of times, saying that the current system makes you white coat factory workers. They're wearing the white coat. The patient comes in, they give them a drug, and then they push them on. They bring it. So it's almost like a factory. That's not what patients want. That's not what health professionals want. But everybody's incentivized to do that. So the new systems, this new health economy, is trying to figure out better ways on how to incentivize health professionals. So that's part of what we've done. Not only are we training them, but we've given them a system that helps incentivize them to maintain long-term relationships with their patients, because that's ultimately what patients want.
So if I come as a patient off the street, and I've been stuck as a patient in the existing medical system my whole life, and I'm just starting to understand that that's not really the right way forward for overall health, and I come into one of your clinics, like, how do they approach the patient? How do they start? What do they tell us?
Yeah, it's a different approach, in the sense that we're going to really look at what's going on. So what we call health management is very similar to wealth management, financial planning. So health management is like wealth management. Medical advice is like financial advice, in the sense that the first thing we're going to do with you is we'll sit you down and we're going to do a health management plan. We're going to look at everything that's going on. What have you tried? What have you done? Where have you done it? What are you looking to accomplish? And really figure things out. And then once we start moving forward, you decide this is what you want to do, we're going to baseline. And the baseline is getting labs, doing nutrigenomics testing, doing pharmacogenetics testing, really looking at where you are. Because if we don't know where you are, we can't know if we're actually improving you, right? And so there's this concept of, oh, we need more technology, and technology is helpful, but what our system does and what our health professionals do, or what we call health managers, is that they leverage technology, leverage the AI, leverage the data to help build and maintain a personal relationship. Because ultimately that's what you want, is you want an advisor sitting right by you saying, here's what you should do, here's what you should eat, here's what medicines you should take. And because that's where it all starts. But in that plan, we're going to look at three primary areas. We're going to look at minimizing inflammation in your body, because inflammation is the root of all pain and disease. The second area we're going to look at is balancing your hormones, because our hormones are what drives us and makes our systems work and manages our behavior. But our hormones get out of whack. And so we need to balance those. Not necessarily saying, oh, you're a woman of a certain age or you're a man of a certain age, so we need to do this. It's really a balancing and looking at a lot of different hormones and how they all interact and fit together. So the first thing we're going to do is minimize inflammation. Then we're going to balance your hormones. And then we're going to look to help you with healing and growth within your body. Where can we make your body better? Whether that's joints, whether that's chronic diseases, whether that's further inflammation that we can't get with some of these other areas, but it's minimize inflammation, balance hormones, and promote healing and growth. And then we lay that plan out in front of you and say, here's what we think you should do. Here's how it's going to work. It's based over the next 12 months. And then we look to get you better, because we've got your baseline. So we know if we're actually getting better. It's not just, well, I feel better today. We're looking for actionable and using technology and data actually to make your life better. And you can see that your life is getting better, not just feel it.
Okay, that's fascinating. It kind of sounds ideal as a patient coming in. I mean, it's like you want your doctor to care about you.
Right?
Almost to be true, and very different from the what we've experienced our whole lives pretty much as patients. But do you work through the insurance systems?
No, we do not work through insurance. Now we will do a super bill at the end and the patient can go and try to get reimbursed from insurance. But because of what we're doing and how we're doing it, we have to step outside. We do work with medical sharing companies, which is kind of a new thing in health insurance. But it's really not, the traditional health insurance companies aren't really liking what we're doing at this point in time, which then makes it that parallel side, right? That new health economy. But you have to do things new. If you want things done differently, then if you want different results, then you have to do things differently. And so this is where our company and our partners and a lot of other folks that are trying to push this way is how do we help people? How do we help the body heal itself? And unfortunately, the old medical economy doesn't support that.
Right. Well, what you guys are doing is really inspiring. Do you offer digital virtual meetings as well, or are you only in person?
Yeah, the telehealth is a very big component of what we're doing. But we don't do telehealth just simply because it's telehealth or just simply because people want to get on a video chat. That's just, it's not like it's something separate. It's part of the whole experience and relationship with our health managers.
Meaning you have a patient who has virtual access if necessary.
Absolutely. Yeah.
That's great.
Ideally, it's done on a local level. You work with somebody in Phoenix, Arizona, or you work with somebody in Milwaukee, Wisconsin, or Denver, Colorado, or Bozeman, Montana, or up in Maine or wherever. You're working on your local level. But because we're such a mobile society, I mean, I'm in between. I'm in Middle America in a hotel right now because I'm traveling. But we have people all over, and like if I'm traveling, say in Lexington, Kentucky, or Chicago, Illinois, or wherever, I can get shoot a message to my health manager and say, hey, struggling with this, and he or she can say, oh, here, let me send you a link, or let's jump on here, and because that's what I'm saying is that we're using technology not to replace,
to assist,
but to assist, right? To leveraging technology to help enhance the health professional patient relationship. And that's really what's been lost over the last 100 years or so, is that personal relationship. And so the telehealth enhances that relationship that's already been built.
How was the COVID era for you in the medical field?
Yeah, it was strange. Now, we launched our company in January of 2020, and then 2 to 3 months later, they shut everything down. So it's been kind of rough for us, as I mentioned earlier. But we got through it. And really what it was is just trying to figure out what it was that patients needed. Had a conversation with a doctor last evening, who we were talking about how there was so much misinformation. Nobody knew exactly what to do. But if you followed more of an evidence-based approach, you didn't do what the mainstream was telling you that you needed to do. And so we have a lot of folks that were looking for alternative treatments very early on, and trying to help those folks make good decisions. That's really what it was about. Is what's the best decision for you? And I'm not going to get into what personal decisions people made, but I think that most decisions in the last 3 years were made out of fear, not based out of informed information gathering. And so that's one of the things that we tried to do very early on, was say, here's some good information. Here's some resources. The frontline doctors did a phenomenal job getting information out. And so we tapped into a lot of their resources, and just tried to figure some things out. Ivermectin was a very big part of what a lot of our folks were doing. But it was really more about whole health, and people were able to try and reset them. And again, it's about making good decisions. And a lot of times we can't make good decisions if we don't know what's going on, or we got all this information. That's a big part of what a health manager does, is help guide and make decisions when there's not a lot of information there, or if there is a lot of information. Sometimes too much information is too difficult as well.
True. And can be confusing.
Right.
How does your approach, how do the people who are operating in your space, how do they reach medical students? Because they're just churning out generation after generation of students who are just entering the same system. And the system requires a level of obedience that you find among most people who go into that system. Right.
It's really hard. I'm a pretty strong libertarian, in the sense that a small L libertarian. I believe that people should make their own individual decisions and make their own individual choices. And I think you hit something that it's been our experience as I've been working with doctors. I'm not a medical doctor myself. I joke that I've been in medicine, but not necessarily of medicine, for the last 23 years or so. I've been working with doctors in a variety of capacities, and have seen strange things, and see that had the opportunity to get to know doctors on a level that most non-physicians don't. And one of those things really was the idea of what comes out of medical school. As you mentioned, there is an obedience. There is a, do as we say. What's happening though, and it's really more of an underground movement. And I can say that it's because of this or because of that. And is it causation or correlation? It doesn't really matter, but because this is where we are. What patients want four things. And I'm going to fully answer your question about the medical school. Patients want four things. The people that want to get better and they want to have a good, healthy life, especially in the United States, they want a personal relationship. They want time and advice. Hey, doc, I want you to listen to what I'm doing. I want you to listen to what I've done in the past. And then when I want you to give me real actionable advice. Don't tell me to take 2 pills and call you in the morning. I want real actionable advice on how I can be a healthy person. The third thing, this is a strange thing that it's been a big pushback from the health professional community, but if they realize what's going on here, it's actually a positive. DIY medicine. What's happening in medicine in the last 3 to 5 years, and it was really brought on because of the whole misinformation, too much information, whatever, from COVID, is this idea of DIY medicine or DIY health. Same thing that happened to plumbing and heating and electrical and all this, DIY because of YouTube. That's happening all over Instagram and YouTube. You can argue whether it's good or bad, but it is, and that's where we are. And so what happens a lot of time is a health professional will come in and say, hey, doc, I was Googling my symptoms. And the doc will say, hey, don't confuse your Google search with my medical degree. And then the patient who's dealt with a chronic disease for 20 years say, hey, don't confuse your 4-hour lecture with my 20 years of living with this disease. What health professionals are missing out on is that patients are saying, hey, I trust you. I'm looking at this. I want your real advice, going back to that last thing that I said. And then the last thing they want is they want help navigating the complexities of medicine and health. The problem is that's not how health professionals are trained in medical school. It's very much a paternalistic 1960s arms crossed, do as I say. But that's not what patients want, especially in the United States. And so what's happening, it's one of the reasons why we exist, why our Impact Health .care website and community exists, because we have to help people see that there's a retraining going on here. There's a retooling. Maybe 15 years ago or so, and this was really when George W. Bush was the president, there was this talk about retraining, all these people in the Rust Belt and all these jobs that were lost in the United States, that what we had to do is we had to retrain them, teach them to code, that sort of thing. That was a big deal, and it caused a lot of problems. People were upset on both ends of the political spectrum. What's happening is that the market is moving away from the old medical economy. And doctors are realizing, hey, that's where I want to be, but I don't know how to get there. So you have to retrain them, retool them. It's not giving them new skills. It is giving them new skills, but it's not saying that, hey, you don't know anything, or you don't have any abilities, or you don't. Let's take what you have and that expertise that you have, and let's leverage it with a real system that can help you and benefit you, which ultimately helps and benefits the patient. So it's unfortunate that the medical schools are the way they are. And I've heard different numbers, but anywhere from 70 to 93% are some numbers I've heard thrown around, that medical schools, 70 to 93% of medical schools are funded by big pharma. And so the curriculum is designed to support who's the supporters are, right? And what really needs to happen, and what we see, and what some other people are starting to see as well, is that we need to actually show opportunities on how to use what you already have, use this medical degree, use this expertise, use this training that you have. And now how do we move that into this new health economy so we can really give patients what they want? Personal relationship, time and advice. They want to be active participants in their own care, and they want help navigating the complexities of medicine and health. That's a whole new mindset. Remember I said there was a mindset and incentives were the two big. There's a whole new mindset shift that's taking place from the old medical economy to now this new medical economy. And that's one of the platforms that we're training health professionals on.
That's really cool. It sounds like you're taking like doctors who can see this future and like showing them a bridge over to the new medicine and the new medical economy. One thing you said though, you said something about how most of these medical institutions are funded by big pharma, and also how the doctors can see that the market is moving away from the old system. So those two things are kind of in conflict, and it's just which has more power, the market or the pharma that's operating the entire medical system. And right. I kind of see it's kind of in like an incoming collision or something. Hopefully the market is strong enough that big pharma is going to feel it and have no choice but to either shift with it or withdraw a bit.
Yeah, I agree with that 100%. So for many years I was writing, hey, bad things are happening, and the old system's going to collapse eventually. And it was very much what other people are feeling, right? And it was very negative approach. And so last summer I sat down and started thinking, okay, listen, people don't want to hear bad news. I mean, we're so used to bad news. What's the good news? Where are we going? And so I wrote a book called Navigating the New Health Economy. And really the new health economy is, whether you believe it or not, it's happening right before our very eyes. The old system is collapsing, right? And so we have to prepare for what's next. So instead of sitting there standing in the ashes when it does collapse, because we're on the brink of a big collapse. And listen, I'm not here to say personal decisions, vaccine, no vaccine, that's not my job, right? I have a personal opinion. I know what I did, but it was about me and my family. With that being said, I do believe, and this, I was an economics teacher and professor at one point in time. And so I'm an economist. I kind of look at what's happening in the economy and where it's going, where it's been, that sort of thing. And what I believe very strongly, and this is not me being conspiratorial, this is me looking at what's happening. And Dr. Wolf has done a phenomenal job of leading this. Okay.
Absolutely.
Pharma has overplayed their hand. The medical system, the current medical system, have overplayed their hands. And what is happening is it's beginning to topple. let's just say for argument's sake that as some of the countries are, let's say it happens in the United States where patients are allowed to sue pharma, right? Because that's one of the big issues with vaccines, and the pharma doesn't have to worry about this or that, and but let's say that they're allowed to, and let's say that somebody wins a judgment, right? Everything begins to fall from there because there are so many people who are going to be lining up. Again, I'm not pointing out who's right, who's wrong, what's this. It's really more along the lines of, as an economist, I have to be prepared. As a business owner and as an entrepreneur, I have to be prepared. And what I'm telling you is that there are just a couple of small things. We are a couple of small things from the current medical system completely collapsing on itself. I did an analysis for this book that I think that if about 2% of the nurses in America, 2%, decide not to show up to work one day, the entire system will shut down and therefore collapse. Nurses are incredibly important. And you say, oh, well, that's fanciful. And look at what happened in New York just a few months ago. The nurses didn't work. They said, hey, we're on strike. We need better conditions. We need more money. Whatever it was that their argument was, they shut down the entire system. And patients couldn't come in and out. They were worried that we are so close to just one or two things happening, and boom, it's just dominoes just fall dramatically. So given that, that's why I decided, what's on the other side? How can we do this? And really what it comes down to is that the new health economy is way different than what the old economy is. But Navigating the New Health Economy is the book I wrote, and it's meant to say, hey, yeah, things are bad, but good things are coming, but only if you're aware of what's happening.
It's amazing, and I'm excited to check out your book, and I encourage everyone else to check out your book. And on that optimistic note, I'd like to ask you to tell everybody where they can find you, and just if you have one last message for us. Thank you so much. This has been a great conversation. I really enjoyed it.
Thank you for letting me tell our story, and we're excited to really help people. You can go to impacthealth.care, and we've got a free report, The 7 Emerging Trends in the New Health Economy. You can download that and read that. And then there's different ways that you can get into the different books that I've written and about the new health economy, what the new health manager, but impacthealth.care. RHM.care is for patients looking to find a health manager that can really help them. Our tagline is Your Health Managed. It's very, very simple, but very, very structured and complex, and really personalized to what it is that you're looking to do. And then ultimately, I'm on Twitter at Impact Health, but that I is actually a 1, so it's 1 Impact Health.
Great. I'll get that up there for the audience to see. And again, thank you so much for being here and answering all of my questions, and for really doing what you're doing and forging ahead for the new health parallel economy, the parallel medical system. And we need people like you, more people like you, and for people to support you also and join into what you're doing. So
thank you very much. I'm very excited to share, and would welcome to be able to help anybody that we can.
Amazing. So please head over to impacthealth.care or rhm.care and check out what Mr. Aubry and his team have been up to. Thank you so much, and check out all of our other content at dailyclout.io.